Well, hello everyone. It is our regular military update with Mike Mihajlovic, and this is Black Mountain Talks with you. And today we have a lot of interesting topics to discuss. And of course, I would like to start with terrorist attack on Crocus City Hall. And here I'm bringing the video of Vladimir Putin addressing the audience about those who are presumably behind those attacks. And Mike, what are your thoughts on the subjects? I have read a really interesting article by Alex, and you can find this article on Black Mountain Talks Substack. Here is the address. If you are not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And that article is really valuable. And I know that Alex has been invited to interview after people read his article. So what are your thoughts on this subject?
Well, it is not what is actually the media trying to present to us here in the West. Obviously, this is the very well-planned attack with the masterfully organized logistics up to the execution. So what I see, those terrorists, they're just tip of the iceberg. So the roots of this attack, the depth of this attack is going much, much deeper. So executioners are picked up and trained just to do what they've done. They're probably under influence of narcotics. Because stuff that they've done, normal person or person that they pretend, for instance, an ISIS person, they will not do that. ISIS has different ways of doing things. They're basically not simply not the way how it was executed in Moscow. So I believe that somebody is is behind this, but it's not involvement of the ISIS because ISIS is just small screen. Basically, but the roots are coming probably from the West through Ukraine with the training through in Turkey, and the finance is coming through the Bitcoin or some of those cryptocurrencies, which definitely FSB is going to unwind. So that would be one of the most shortest explanation, and that is my view, that it was orchestrated abroad. It was not just random jihadists, because they will do that some other way. They are not running from the scene. They are martyrs. They want to do stuff to be remembered. But these guys had some kind of backup plan that obviously failed, and that backup plan was to be handed or to get somehow to Ukraine. So, but they will be probably executed right on spot, because that mouth doesn't talk. So that is the background. Somebody on the in the West know exactly every single detail, and bear in mind that when they published. When the Western mainstream media published who they think is perpetrator, their finger pointed to ISIS right away. But they couldn't find, for instance, who killed Kennedy. They couldn't find who destroyed Nord Stream. They couldn't find who was really behind 9/11. But they on spot discovered quotes that it was ISIS who performed the terrorist attack. Definitely, Russian services, they're going to investigate, and terrorists, whatever they know, they already sang that song, so they're now basically useless, and their life is over. They will regret the day they were born, so they're finished. But stuff, the information that they told to the investigators, obviously will lead to one place in the West.
Yeah, and here is the video of Bortnikov, who is head of FSB, and he's saying that practically he said that he believes that that the Ukraine is behind the attack and not only Ukraine.
Yeah, and bear in mind, the gentleman, he got the proper information, and whatever they're trying to put that information, all of those information were extracted under torture, whatever, who cares about that? Information need to be extracted 24 hours. Most likely. So those guys, they saying everything. They told to investigators everything. and now it's just to piece the to put the puzzle. This puzzle has many parts, and those Tajik guys are terrorists. they're just a tip. The roots are much deeper, and FSB and the SVR and the Russian military intelligence, they know who is behind. And in the next few weeks or few months, we'll see some heads are going to roll definitely in Ukraine because of this.
And it was also very interesting that, like people who are in higher ranks in Russia, they said that Budanov is a legitimate target for Russian forces now.
So yeah, exactly. He's
destiny.
Yeah, he's leader of SBU, not SBU, GUR. Military intelligence, and not only him. There is a couple other guys, the head of the SBU. So yeah, they're basically perpetrators. In my mind, I don't have any not a single doubt. 100% are there behind it, with the support of CIA, MI6, maybe somebody else, maybe French service. Tajiks were just the pawns in the whole of that game. What is going to happen? Basically, they have to be very careful where they go, what they eat from now till the end of their days, because Russian intelligence, they're not going to let this unpunished. Look what happened to the killer of Daria Dugina, what happened to the deserter who stole the helicopter and basically killed his crew. So they're finished. They're done. Execution is the justice was served on spot.
Yeah, and
this is going to same thing is going to happen to Budanov and the other guy who is head of SBU. They will be probably eliminated in some of those missile attacks, because the primary goal of Russian intelligence will be to follow them. But if anybody thinks that it will happen overnight, no, it will not happen overnight. Sometimes will pass. Is it week, 2 weeks, 3 months, a year? It doesn't really matter, because times is only valuable in the West. Those guys, they are living on the borrowed time. So no matter when, but they will be served justice. Also, those who publicly spoke in the West about nasty surprises for Russia, that these attacks will come, like Victoria Nuland, she should be careful, really careful, because she knew something. Also, American intelligence, they didn't even they put that warning that something may happen. They warned their own citizens. Intelligence services should share information regarding to terrorist attacks. U.S. intelligence didn't provide any sufficient information to Russians except those public statements, and Russia will remember that. Also, in Turkey, there were some arrests of terrorists. Bear in mind that President Erdogan, he owned his presidency to the Russian intelligence, because if Russia didn't warn him about the coup, he will be overthrown. So he need to pay his debt, and he's the tradesman. He can be this or that. He can sit on 3 chairs, 5 chairs. Doesn't really matter. As a tradesman, he need to respect that part of the deal. Russia saved him, so he owes his head to the Russian intelligence. And he's going to do that. Many more information, small pieces of information will come from Turkey, from Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, any of those countries. And in the meantime, Russia is going to build a case. They already have it, to be honest, to build a case. And the next thing will be hypersonic missiles flying into the underground bunkers with those Ukrainian leaders of those secret services.
Yeah, because I now recall, maybe it was more than a year ago, it was stream which Andrei Martyanov participated in, and it was a stream for Russian audience. And then he mentioned that even after SMO ends, and when people who were behind this conflict between Russia and the Ukraine, they have to be very careful, because, not Russia, neither Ukraine is not Iraq, and they will in a while, maybe they will have their revenge, because
they will hunt them.
It might not be even at the state level, but some people who are, well, powerful enough, yet they are not in public, they can do something.
Absolutely, this is how Secret Service is working, and they're secret because not many informations are public. Doesn't really need, is it going to be the missile attack, or somebody will die in a heart attack, or in the car accident, or climbing the mountains. You see what's happening in Ukraine now. There's suddenly high-ranking Polish officers, special forces members dying in some exercises in Poland, but this is just a small screen. They got killed in Russian attacks. And everybody knows that, but everybody who need to know that. But the problem is that something needs to be served to the public, and the public usually is always busy with something else. So airplane crashes, car accidents, falling into the abyss during hiking, or whatever they can get on their mind, they will serve it to the public, and majority of people simply they don't care. And but it is what it is.
Yeah. And if some cases look credible, then I remember maybe it was last year when one of the generals died when he was hiking in the mountains. And now
I mean, it can happen. It is happening almost every day. High-ranking officer hiking alone, falling into the ditches, or breaking their necks, falling into the abyss, or whatever. Yeah, it's happening every day. It's nobody.
Yeah, it's regular practice.
It's a regular practice.
Because I remember when I was working in the bank, of course, we were not like high-ranking military officers, but we had like interbank system implemented, and those people who were responsible for implementation of new software, they were prohibited from any like extreme activities, even from skiing.
Yeah. So, because weird things can happen.
And I have like another follow-up questions about drills in Poland, because yesterday I read on some resources, but I never found like original statement of Polish Ministry of Defense that already like 5 servicemen have already been dead during the military drill.
It's accidents like that can happen in almost every kind of military drills, especially if it involved live fire or working with the real explosives, not just some simulation stuff. Drills are necessary because they're preparing for the open war with Russia. But Poles, I believe that they're preparing first to get to Lviv, to Volyn, to take territories that Poland claims that was taken from them by Stalin and handed over to Ukraine. There is no love between Poles and Ukrainians regarding to that. There is many bad blood since 1940s, or even before. So Poland is definitely not working for Ukraine. Poland is working for themselves. Poles working for themselves. So that is the main goal. Polish interest first. They don't care what is going to happen with Ukraine. Nobody in the West cares what is going to happen with Ukraine.
Well, yes, they publicly stating that we're not.
Well, publicly they will not say, but you have to read between the lines. And recently, that Josep Borrell, I think he said, if Russia wins, that will be a catastrophe. But they can't. It's not because they love Ukraine, but because of them. And also Lindsey Graham, that village idiot in U.S. Congress, he's talking about all the time to the last Ukrainian. Ukrainians, such a nice people, good people, are caught in the never-ending spin, so they can't get out. There is no way that they can get out except to try to cross the border or try to avoid mobilizations. And now they're talking about 1 million people. And they're talking about only in Poltava, I think 30,000 people didn't show up for registration to be mobilized. 30,000 people. That's 6 brigades of troops. So that's so much about morale on the Ukrainian side. But you know what? There's still more people. They're going to mobilize between 19 and 25. So people will be picked up from schools, from any kind of work. But the world need to go, because U.S. military-industrial complex, military investment complex, they need to make money. And not only U.S., there is other countries. UK, which is UK military, is basically, they can find, they said maximum 2 months with Russia. I would say if they survive a month open conflict with Russia, they can celebrate.
Yeah.
So it's a tough time, very, very tough time, and very bad time for the ordinary people. For the MIC politicians, oh yeah, it's a spring on the full in the full swing.
Yeah,
They're spring feeling the pockets.
Yeah, and I also have to come back to Crocus attack once again, and here is also a video showing minute by minute timeline what and how was happening. Because in Western media there are lots of speculations that Russian special SWAT, it wasn't effective, it arrived too late, and they did not act the way they should have acted. And what kind of speculations are these? Do they have something below them? So some foundation?
Well, this is the well organized stuff. See that venue where they attack. It's not in downtown Moscow, so it's the access for the special forces, for any law enforcement to get there. They will be caught in the Moscow traffic. Moscow traffic is heavy, especially in that time when the attack happened. So law enforcement units, they couldn't arrive on time. Terrorists, they scouted, they recognized, there was a reconnaissance trips to that stuff. So it was very well planned planned mission. They were under narcotics. They were also, you can see how they move. In the beginning, their moves were resemble act of somebody who is trained by special forces. But after that, it got chaotic. But they were very well organized. Shooters plus the guy who is loading the magazines, plus guy who with the cameras or live stream. It is not simply trademark of ISIS. ISIS will stay there and fight to the end. Any of those fanatics. So these guys they counted on evacuation. So they had a backup plan. They made mistake because they didn't They didn't take another car. I thought that they will probably switch to something else, some other vehicle. But once when Russians were certain that they left the venue, there was no imminent danger to try to evacuate people except fire. So that's the reason why Russia didn't send whole SWAT teams inside, because terrorists were not there. They followed them. They listened the communication. They listened. They checked the route to Ukraine, and I think in the region of Bryansk. In Bryansk, they finally stopped them. It was Ahmad troops. Plus Spetsnaz from FSB, so they captured them, and you see when they capture them, their behavior, crying, whatever. It's completely different mind setup than it was in the Crocus. So probably that narcotics evaporate from their organism, and now they felt. They felt a panic, so they discard their weapons, but they were caught. And as I said, they're going to regret they were born.
Yeah, because now, there are discussions in Russian public space about lifting moratorium on death row.
No, that penalty for them will be blessing. Yeah. They have to spend the rest of their life in the cells, no more than a few square meters, never walk again with a straight back, never had the contact with the family, so that they will have every minute of that confinement to think about what they've done. Also, I read some comments about torture. Well, Russians put those videos with certain purpose. This is what is going to happen to terrorists, because ISIS will not let anyone to get captured. They will have a suicide vest just to inflict more and more casualties and to kill themselves at the end. But these guys, no matter how they're trying to connect them with ISIS, this is simply not ISIS. Their methods are not ISIS methods.
Yeah,
and of course, I'm absolutely for that kind of information extraction, because Russia need to get all information within 24 hours. After that, these guys are basically useless. They will be just used for the trial. But all information is were gathered within 24 hours. Now, to build up the whole picture through the other connections, to those other captured or arrested, that will be a lengthy process. And now they look into the Telegram channel, they look into the finances, through the cryptocurrency, and one day they will simply say, okay, here is the bank, here is the institution, here is the organization who issued that stuff. And the news is tightening.
And what is also very interesting, we had a discussion with Oleg Shalandin, who is Russian military expert. He doesn't like to be called expert, but there is no other way to call him. He's military professional. And he said that those people who executed this terrorist attack, they were like disposables. On the other hand, Bortnikov said that they were to be greeted in the Ukraine like heroes, because the window was prepared for them.
To cross the border.
Like one-time event, so they appeared like, yes, they're heroes, they're met, and then they would disappear somewhere. Or
they may be greeted for the first 5 minutes, then they will be executed and buried in some forest not far from the border. So I can even call them idiots, because but maybe they're simply idiots, expendables, nothing, human stain, just a garbage, scumbags.
Yeah, because
used and abused.
Yeah, because when I hear from the Western media that Russian special services weren't effective, I hear, maybe it seems to me, but I hear the regret that those people were caught alive, because it would be preferably if they would be shot in place.
Yeah, if they stayed if they stayed in Crocus, they probably will be shot. But if they didn't have a backup plan, they would definitely, and if they realize this, or any of those jihadi terrorists, they will stay there and fight to the end. But no, they had that backup, and that was the biggest mistake that organizers made in this case. Backup plan is something that is all informations are going to leak, and once when that is closed, missiles are going to hit the bunkers, cars, restaurants. It will be sudden food poisoning in some restaurants. It will be many things.
Because what is very interesting, that there were 11 people arrested, and only 4 of them.
That we know.
There were more.
Yeah. There's definitely more. I would say that at least 30 people is involved. 40 in Turkey. Those 40 people will lead to those who order the stuff. And Turks, they have a means to how to extract information. And they will instruct basically this on the same way as Russians. So because simply not because they love Russia, but it is because the Turkish president Erdogan, he owes that to President Putin. In this case, and he's the tradesman. Yeah, he's simply the tradesman. If he's not the president, excuse me, he will be the best shopkeeper in Istanbul's Kapalı Çarşı.
Yeah, he does his best. Yes.
Yeah. He's trying to sit on 3 chairs. He's doing deals here and there, but as a tradesman, he has some level of respect. And of course,
I have respect for him, because despite his sitting on 3 chairs, he still manages to do that. So
as I said, if he's not the president, he will be the perfect shopkeeper in Kapalı Çarşı. He can sell anything to anyone.
And now I remember that Bayraktar, I think Bayraktar, he was a relative for.
Yeah, he's the father-in-law to Selçuk Bayraktar.
Yeah, and
so
there
family connections. Family is everything. Look at the Turkish history. Family is everything.
Yeah, and there were plans of building Bayraktar factory in the Ukraine, and
oh yeah, whatever is left. I think that they try something in Zaporozhye, but no, that it's just the talks. I think Turkey is building one or maybe two warships that will probably never come to Ukraine.
And it's a very interesting like observation. A friend of mine, he is actively participating in Twitter battles, and he was engaged with some ex-general who was claiming that, oh, now the Ukraine will receive F-16s, and Russia will not dare to touch the like air bases where those planes would be allocated.
Okay, so if the F-16, Russia already hit the airports when they try to build infrastructure, and F-16, no matter how good that plane and reliable is, it is completely different story for the regarding to the technical maintenance. It's that plane need pristine conditions, pristine runway. Logistics is very large. They can't take off from highways like MiGs or Sukhois. So it's those logistic bases and some trained people, they already died in those Russian attacks. If they use Western bases, for instance, in Poland or Romania, Russia has a legitimate right to hit those bases if those planes take off from there to hit Russian targets. So, and President Putin, he said it clearly.
Yeah, I think you said it today.
Yeah, but bear in mind, Russia, no matter how somebody on the West or Western media try to present them, they're incompetent, they can't do this or that. They know exactly what is going on, and they reserve the time when they're going to hit and who. So, for instance, Chasov Yar, when the Polish general was killed, it was a deep underground object, and then once when Russia was sure that there's a gathering of high-ranking officers there, both NATO and Ukrainians, they just put one missile over that. Then SBU building, I think it was presented like a civil defense building. They had underground structure, so they sent I believe it Zircon, and which exploded inside the basement, and you see the building is leveled. So who knows how many people were there. And I think I believe that attack was during the day, so probably the meetings are. How Russians know that? It's not just they sent one drone or satellite movie. That location was surveyed for months, weeks, days, 24/7. Also, there is a human intelligence in Ukraine. The people who work for Russia, they noted the circulation of people in the some very luxurious cars, something which is not really typical. Then electronic intelligence, signal intelligence, when Russia pick up communications and they can pinpoint regions of that communication. Not necessarily that they understand what they're talking about, but they will see that the electromagnetic spectrum is saturated in that area. Plus, they had the visual intelligence from the drones. They had satellites. So once when they collect all of that information, they just waited for the right moment to place Zircon inside the building.
Yeah.
Now I read somewhere regarding to again a story from 2022. I think it was stuff that. The previous PR from Ukrainian air defense or air forces said that Russia is running out of missiles. Now the guy who replaced that guy said that Russia is now forced to use expensive hypersonic missiles because they don't have any more regular missiles, or they're running low. I mean, the level of incompetence, the level of talking nonsense is really skyrocketing now in Ukraine. And Ukrainian people, they don't deserve that. I mean, they're trying to brainwash them, but as a smart people, majority is smart, they will see what it's all about, how their own officials are lying to them.
Yeah, and in general, well, I have witnessed some conflicts before in press, but this is the first one which has some, I don't know, outstanding level of PR, outstanding level of it's a show like, so we're not witnessing the conflict, we're witnessing the show.
Yeah, it's everything.
This is what not surprises is not correct word. I think it's like
it's like a marketing, you know. It's sometimes I look in general. I don't look TV, but although those media sometimes I see retired generals, whatever, with talking about something, and anyone who can who understand things, how really things works, can see that these people are nothing, that they're delusional. They're talking about something that doesn't have any background. They're exaggerating, talking about some nonsenses, especially the general Ben Hodges, then David Petraeus, then there was a French general, I think Mishka Yakovlev from Foreign Legion. Okay, sometimes I wonder how those guys advance through the ranks. But you know what? Russia is blessed if the rest of the NATO generals are like those. Simply, Russia is blessed if all of those NATO key people are like those. I can call them even charlatans. I don't care. But the level of how they present, it's really simply ridiculous. And this is basically brainwashing, talking the nonsense.
But I still think that professionals still exist somewhere, because
absolutely. But you will not, you and I, we don't know who they are.
Yeah,
they can be colonels, they can be captains, they can be majors, or some generals. Bear in mind, generals are mostly political functions, because they have to rub shoulders with politicians, especially those if they want to continue their career in business sector or in media. But of course, NATO has excellent planners, but we don't know. You will not read their names in the press, and those guys are in Ukraine now. For instance, that Polish general, he was not there for the tourist visit or to do hiking. He was there to assist, or maybe even to command. And Russia found out he was there.
But I mean that there are still people who are well aware of where situation might lead us, and they try to keep this conflict in the frame which.
That's correct. I think I mentioned yesterday in our conversation that during the Cold War, there was a very tense situations. Soviet missile system down at the American airplanes, and vice versa. But there were sane people on both sides. Now the problem is that the political elite majority is just lunatics that disconnected with reality, of everything is that woke or whatever, however they call that stream to say. But I believe that still those in command of the military and decision makers, people who are behind, but still they're still in control. So I believe that they will not let those lunatics take over. Otherwise, it will be like lunatics take over the asylums. And you know, like in the States, you have President Trump spoke about the deep state. Yeah, but there is a white and black deep state. So black deep states are those who those woke stuff, but there is white or vice versa. I mean, doesn't really matter the color, but the true patriots, people who really want America to be the first, and who put the interest of Americans, so ordinary people ahead of all of that stuff that is going on in Congress. And I told yesterday what I think about the Congress and what kind of oldest profession they represent. So, I mean, they're still sane people, and hopefully they will be in charge, and they are in charge of those those that they can maybe take control if something really went wrong and somebody wants to push the wrong button.
And here is the very interesting chart. I found it today. and it is world approval rating. So are we going into right direction? And as you see, world in general thinks that we are not going into right direction.
Yeah.
But countries who are more or less on the BRICS side, okay, except maybe Poland, they think that they're going into right direction. And if we say France, I don't know, like Hungary, South Africa, Great Britain, which is very significant, I think, Turkey, Japan, people don't believe, I think they don't believe their governments.
Yeah, of course. I mean, see what's going on in France. Their president, it's not a president, it's a parody of president. And I don't know, is his wife first lady or first man or first whatever. It's okay. It's not on me to criticize them. It's their life. But hey, they're the face of France, and with them, France is really on the low scale now.
And how do you evaluate, say, if Macron says that we are going to get the boot on ground in the Ukraine, or we are going to engage in some assault against Russia, would there be a power in France who would stop him, or the military will just obey the orders and that's all?
Depends who is in charge. I mean, every president will put the people who are loyal to him. But I believe there are French generals who see that fighting Russia is one thing, and fighting, let's say, Mauritania or whatever, Senegal or Niger, it's completely different story. So Macron, he wants to deflect stuff from his own problems, and I have no doubts that he sent already some French troops, like a Foreign Legion. Bear in mind that, let's say, 2/3 of Foreign Legion are Slavs, so Hungarians, Russians, Ukrainians, actually not Hungarians, like Poles. So probably a lot of French Foreign Legionnaires or former Foreign Legionnaires, they just switch uniforms, so they're now in Ukraine. Technically, they're still member of Foreign Legion, and the Foreign Legion is the fighting fist of the French army. So French experts for the cruise missiles, French expert in artillery. They're high-ranking French officers there. They're high-ranking officers from Italy, from Germany, from Poland. They're already there. Now, if Macron wants to send, let's say, 2,000 people, 2,000 men to secure the border, as the plan was to relieve Ukrainian forces so that they can go to the front. Moment they set up and settle in those schools, let's say they will be located in the schools or some larger buildings where they can house those troops, they will get hit with the missiles. So when the first coffins and body bags start to roll officially to France, unofficially they're already rolling, but officially French public may react. And in France, they already have a problem with the farmers, like in England or Poland. And the people just want to live their own lives, to live normally. Basically, stories that I heard from people who came from there, or I have some friends, of course. Nobody cares for Ukraine anymore. Nobody cares for Ukrainian war, whatever they talk about. People just want to continue with their lives, their own lives. And as the time passes, Russia has time now. In the West, they have expensive watches, but Russia has the time. And when SMO, special military operation, may be upgraded to something bigger. Depends, but special military operation will be finished with the Russian goals achieved. No matter is France going to send 2,000 men or 20,000 men. By the way, 20,000 men, it's not possible to send because they simply don't have logistics to do that. Britain even less. There is a big problem with recruitment, a lot of resignation in the military. I know how is the situation in Canada. Canadian military is struggling to get recruits, both in regular services and in reserve. So there is a big Western militaries are in a big problem. Storages, warehouses for the old obsolete stuff is already sent to Ukraine, expanded, kill more own Ukrainian troops than Russians. But the game is ongoing. They're trying now to put more into production, and of course the major stakeholder is the U.S. Military investment complex. In any case, if NATO want to put the troops, yeah, they will do that. But what will be the outcome? I don't even want to get deep in that, because it will be really bloody.
Yeah. And one more like chart, it's about BRICS, and BRICS has surpassed G7 countries already.
Yeah, G7 is just, it's like, how to call that, even, I can't even call that old man. It will be insult to the old man. That is already passed. G7 is already passed. G7 is living in their dreams about production capabilities, etc. But production capabilities are now belong to BRICS. If the country doesn't have production capabilities, everything else is just a services, banks. And the BRICS is going to build their own banking system or finance system. Again, it's not my field of expertise, but pure logic is that BRICS is going to build everything, but BRICS has production capabilities. BRICS had natural resources and human resources. So what else is necessary? The West will only have VOC, LGBTQ plus 7F, whatever is those abbreviations, whatever that means. It's the world step into the old world doesn't exist anymore. It's just now fight for survival of those the thing that somehow imposed the world order, whatever. That is matter of past now.
Yeah, and I think
multipolar world, simply multipolar world, which how it really should be.
Yeah, and if production still exists in the US, then Europe, I think it's...
production exists. I'm not saying that everything is gone, but 50-year production before 50, let's say 50 years in the past, when the US had all of those steel works, when they had people who can do the stuff, that's one thing. But then they, because the sheer greed, they sold everything, they shipped everything to China. And now that there is a time for the payback.
Yeah, and I remember that 2 years ago there were plans in the US that they will build a new chip production plant in Arizona, but I haven't heard anything about that still. And they were planning to start production. But
production. Yeah, there is a production which is related only to the military stuff. And but this is not a massive production. This is something that is really blossoming in the West. But ordinary stuff, for instance, take your phone, for example. That phone in China cost maybe $50 to build. They're selling in the States or in Canada for $1,000. So margins are filling somebody's pockets. But if they want to bring that phone to be produced in for instance, in Canada, it will cost $4,000.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why we have only service industry here. Restaurants, fast food, whatever. Banks are the biggest business. Insurance companies. This is the investments. This is the biggest business here. But when I drove to Canada to see how many, let's say, factories we have, hardly you can see anywhere. Everything is just assembling and assembling from the parts that coming from some third party from other countries. Hardly you can see something which is really, really produced in Canada, and especially in the States, when it's proudly made in the USA, proudly made. It says everything. For somebody it says nothing, but proudly made in the US says, for me, says everything.
Yeah. And with electricity and natural resources cost, like in Europe, it's close to the impossible to get into that.
Yeah, in Canada also.
Like normal prices for production.
Yeah, in Canada, gas is gasoline or gas, how we call it here, every day is different price.
Yeah, it's like on stock market. You go to the fuel tank and you just try to figure out.
Yeah. And when you go to the store, $100 before, there was a full cart of goods, food. Now $100 is nothing. Now $100 for me is simply nothing.
Well, I paid
to buy the stuff.
I paid $15, like counting into dollars, practically, for nothing. Bread, 2 packs of sugar, and some vegetables. So
our leader said, "Oh, we don't have inflation. We have everything is under control, few percent." When you go to the store and the price from the previous month jumped, let's say 25% or 20%. So we don't have inflation. So they're trying to make fool of people. And you brainwash people with cheap TV shows, reality shows, or whatever, and those completely unimportant things. So people don't care about the real problems anymore.
Yeah,
this is the only thing that really is masterful, that can be surpassed for a long time, is that kind of brainwashing, selling the fog, how we say that in Balkans, selling the fog to people.
Yeah, and here I talk to some people who run small businesses, and they all say that we have only lost since that Ukrainian war has started, as they call it. Yeah. And many people have gone bankrupt and had to restart their business, like restaurants. And now like interest rate for mortgage has risen. Of course, central bank says, oh, we will just lower it a bit, but they will lower it only, I think, 0.5%. But it is still high, so construction also stopped here.
Yeah.
And
as I said, make people to think about completely unimportant things, and it's all it's that stuff is lasting for millennia. Ancient Romans said, bread and games. Give people bread and games, and they will do whatever establishment want them to do.
Yeah, but people in business, they already see that these games don't work.
But they're going to invest something else. So the brilliant minds are going to do in that marketing, trying to sell the folk to people, or sell the breach to somebody, or whatever. Yeah, that unfortunately this is it. It's not only not only in the Western countries, but it's actually not North American countries like US or Canada, but it's spreading in Europe too.
Well, I think Europe will suffer the most here. Not the US or Canada, but Europe is like it's becoming an object of international politics.
Sometimes Europe is laughing stock of. And Victoria Nuland had a perfect sentence. What US? I'm not going to repeat that because. But
I think everyone remembers that.
So that sentence perfectly represent what the US think about Europe.
Yeah. So I don't think it will end well for Europe. And the other question is about shell production, because I think Germany was about to give Ukraine 10,000 shell, or not Germany, one of the European countries. But there were also reports in the press that Turkey is going to produce shells for the Ukraine, and they were ordered by the US. So US pays and Turkey supplies shells for the Ukraine.
Well, how the stuff works from Germany, they will send directly, but 10,000 shells is about a day and a half of fighting. Turkey, they can produce the stuff, but then you have that arms and ammunition lines of selling. So that businesses, that end user need to provide a certificate, but end user certificate is just a paper. So for instance, if I want to be involved in that, I'm just talking now, for example, and I let's say I have 10,000 shells, then I want to, but I can't export that somewhere, then I will find somebody else, midman or several midmen, that will buy that. They will give me end user certificate that, for instance, those shells will be used only in Turkey. For instance, so a company in Turkey will produce 10,000 shells. They will sell that to Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan will sell that to, I don't know, Bulgaria. Then Bulgaria said, "Oh, we are in NATO, so we are going to send that to Ukraine." And what that means? End user certificate is basically just something so that customs or whatever, those who supervise those deals we have or producers. So we said we have this one, and we whatever going after, we sell that, we don't know, and we don't care. This is the way how things working.
So it's like breaking the law without breaking the law.
Yeah, exactly. So from time to time they're going to catch somebody, some small fish, but the biggest deals, the bigger dealers, bigger suppliers will never be involved, never be caught.
But now I think that nobody is interested in long-term consequences. So people are acting as if the world will end, I don't know, next Sunday, and now we do whatever we like to do, and well, up till next Sunday, and then there will be something different.
From today to tomorrow.
Yeah, because it's.
But bear in mind that whatever is happening today in Ukraine or in the world, anywhere in the world, it started 50, 60, 70 years ago, because those serious guys, those really who pull the strings, those kind of operations, they're planned well into the future, and they're executed from generation of directors of those agencies from generation to generation. So nothing happened today. Nothing happens that was not set up to happen. Let's say 50 years ago, or 70 years ago. I would say, let's say 1945 is something which is the year when a lot of things changed.
Yeah, looks like Second World War has never been over. It was
Second World War was a transition from the fighting, from the hot war to the Cold War.
Yeah, and then when I was small, it was like year 1993, and I remember my stepdad, he had a book, World War III already ongoing. So it was written back then in the 90s. So it was very like, I just remembered the name of the book. I think I will have to search it and read it someday.
Yeah, I think that I read something, but it was maybe earlier. I have to recall. But I remember the subject. And everything started in that time in East Germany, Berlin.
And so what is going on now, it will have consequences maybe in 10, 20, 30 years. And we will face...
Yeah, exactly. As I said, it started in 1945 and spreading from there. A generation of intelligence officers, directors, operatives changed, but the goals are the same. For instance, look what happened. Afghanistan is a good example, like a crossroads of empires, clashes of empires. Russian Empire from one side, the British Empire from the other side. Afghanistan was the summer between, always to weaken up. So Brits worked since 19th century or 18th century against Russia, and it's still ongoing. So 200 years, 250 years are passed, but the same development.
Yeah.
There is no eternal enemies except in some situations, like for instance British Empire and Russian empires. Now Russia is not empire anymore; is a form of empire that ruled by the Tsar. But it's different. It's different. It's simply different, but the same animosity, same enemies for centuries.
It just shape-shifting, but the essence remains. Yes.
Yeah, essence remains.
The very interesting topic I was advised to read, and I have started reading already. It's about theory of heartland, and there is such a theory that who owns center of Eurasia, which is now Russia, that one owns the world.
Yeah.
So there were always like attempts of the West to conquer that part, just to
always
to rule the world.
Yeah, always. But now you have Russia and China, basically allies. India is like all countries from the BRICS against G7. Woke G7 against emerging powers, emerging power of the BRICS.
Yeah, and I really hope that Russia would be effective mediator between China and India, because India, they also have like trying to play Western politics and trying to play BRICS politics.
Yeah, India was colony for many years, and Brits were. I have to praise British Empire, British politicians at that time, because they were skillful to conquer the whole continent, to keep the continent for themselves. And in India, there's many nationalities, many religious groups. It's mixed match of everything, and Brits ruled it masterfully until 1948, I think.
And here I just want to say that I'm on Scott Ritter's chat, and here is the T-shirt by Scott Ritter, Knowledge is Power. And there are two people. One is from China, the other one is from India, and they both communicate like good friends. So this is what I like the most. So knowledge people together, and it's
let's just hope that common sense and normal people, sane people, will prevail.
Yeah, and one more question, very quick, about Armenia. Here is what Maria Zakharova said, that well, Yerevan, I don't know, they're trying to destabilize what has been settled in the Caucasian region. How it's going to end?
Okay, just give me a second. Well, what is going to happen? Sorry about this. What is going to happen? I mean, Armenia is the fertile ground to create a crisis on the Caucasus. So nobody cares for Armenia in the West. They want just to use Armenia and Azerbaijan as. They just want to use Armenia and Azerbaijan as the tool to harm Russia. This is the only thing that I see. So. Armenia is in sandwich between Turkey and Azerbaijan, so they have to be very careful who will be their ally, because NATO, France especially, will not help them. If they think that France is going to do anything for them, it's delusional.
Yeah, because I read a very interesting article by one of the observers in Armenia, and he says that, well, if Armenia believes that that the European Union started like feel very deep love towards Armenia and will grant it with all the possible goods, well, it's not true. And we have witnessed that already with the Ukraine, like all the promises were made. And I remember myself, it was year 2013. October, when the first Maidan started, and people were saying, "Oh, we are going to have 5,000 euro salaries and 3,000 euro pensions." And I asked, "Well, other countries like the Baltic states have joined the EU, and they don't have such high salaries." And they say, "Oh," people replied, "It is because you are fools and we are wise ones." So there is a, I don't know.
Okay, I will just say.
Yeah, it's hard to comment here, but it's what
European Union will do everything if they can create a crisis in that Caucasus region. And Armenians, smart people, one of the oldest nations in the world, they have to be very careful, because nobody's calling. We have one expression in the Balkans: nobody's calling donkey to the wedding to dance. Donkeys serve only one purpose, so it's up to them to decide.
Hopefully they will learn from others' mistakes and not for everyone, from their own. And there is like I think we should already be finishing, but here is one video I wanted to show just before the end of the show. It says destruction of another Abrams tanks.
Yeah, I saw this one. Yeah, well, it's Abrams is it's very good tank when the side that which is using that tank has absolute air dominance, firepower, but in Ukraine is nothing, simply nothing.
As far as I understood, the land is not suitable for them.
Not only land. The land is just one component, but maintenance, fuel supply. Is completely it's different than for instance in for the Abrams users in some other countries. Abrams is operating with the gas turbine, so it's the fuel consumption is huge. They need a fuel tank to follow the full fuel truck to follow the tank in combat. Yeah, it's working for U.S. military because they have all of those logistics, probably the best logistics in the world. But it doesn't work in Ukraine. Repair bases, if anything is damaged, they need to tow that tank to Poland. Not even Poland can fix that. They have to ship it back to the States. The other thing is the competency of crew. Yeah, they can train crew, but you can't fight the war with 30 or 40 tanks. You need to have 3,000-4,000 of them. but tank is just a tip of the spear. The rest is something that holding that handle, which is logistics, supplies, then field repair shops, then second and third line of maintenance. It's very complicated, but one of those stories, like, they talk about Leopard 2, then now they're talking about Abrams, they're talking about F-16. What was the next? Virginia nuclear submarines, Nimitz class aircraft carriers for Ukraine. Okay, so be it.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the war is not fight with the words or memes. The war is fought on the battlefield.
Yeah, but now I think like it was a maybe surprise for some people who were thinking that we are far away from those great battles like they were in the Second World War, and everyone thought that all the questions could be solved with one small group of army and the other small group of army, and now suddenly we have artillery back on the battlefield, we have tanks back on the battlefield. So the war is, we're going back to old school war, or
exactly.
A bit modernized.
Yeah, position war with modern equipment. But this special military operation or war in Ukraine is a war of attrition. A side that can put more troops, more munition, more logistics, that can repair more equipment is going to win the war. I have no doubts about that.
Yeah. Okay, then thank you very much. We will have to finish already.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend and see you everyone next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.